A tale as old as time sounds romantic, but if it hadn't been changed to the Disney movie we know and love, there's a good chance you might not be as much of a Beauty and the Beast fan. Keep watching to find out how Belle was meant to ease the fear of an arranged marriage. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to The Things and give our video a big thumbs up. Now let's check out the disturbing real story behind Beauty and the Beast. The recent Beauty and the Beast live-action movie features one of Hollywood's most beloved feminists, Emma Watson. It's difficult not to look for elements of equality in a movie that continues to be such a big part of our childhoods. However, like any narrative, it's important to examine where the story comes from. If anything, unveiling the story's darker past might even add to our current appreciation of the film and the corresponding adjustments and tweaks the story has undergone throughout its life. Not always so strong and independent. There are a lot of misconceptions when it comes to our interpretations of the love story between Belle and the Beast. For example, many fans perceive Belle's ability to make her own decisions as a sign of her independence, like when she courageously sets out to save her father. This is impressive for a Disney princess as she strives to defy the patriarchy that tries to limit her usefulness to solely her good looks. Some have gone as far as viewing Belle as a feminist character. Though this may be true for our perspective in our current social climate, the tale originated as part of the oral storytelling tradition. This would have been decades prior to any social or civil rights movement, making it impossible for Belle to be a feminist in her cultural and historical context. Where does the story come from? Looking at where the story of Beauty and the Beast originated is very helpful in understanding how far our interpretation of Belle has come. A professor of folklore and mythology, Marie Tater, explained how this contextual change happened. Tater divulged in a Glamour interview that the story of Beauty and the Beast has existed among communities for longer than we can track. The story we know and love was first published in print by French author Madame Gabrielle Suzanne de Villeneuve. In this version, Belle is a good fairy and the descendant of a king. This tale was based on the real story of Petrus Gonsalves and his bride Catherine. Petrus was afflicted by a condition called hypertrichinosis, which caused excessive hair growth all over his body. He was initially adopted by the French royal family for their amusement. Petrus would go on to marry Catherine and they became a celebrity couple, so using them as inspiration for a printed version of the existing oral tale makes sense. After all, people want to read about things they have experience with. However, it was a French author, Jean-Marie Le Prince de Beaumont, who wrote a second print version of the fairy tale. Beaumont's version was meant to serve as a lesson for girls ranging from ages as young as 5 to 13. Her goal was not to empower young women and inspire them to make their own decisions, quite the opposite. Beauty and the Beast was meant to prove to young 18th century readers that arranged marriages aren't as bad as they may seem. For a girl, a potential husband who was older and much hairier would not be so unlike the Beast Belle eventually falls for. By the time it was rewritten by Beaumont, Belle was no longer royalty, but instead the daughter of an inventor. The purpose of this was to ensure that the story would be relatable to a French population that was becoming increasingly frustrated by the growth of an aristocratic class. The story was then interpreted into the version we know best by an English author named Andrew Lang. This version was the most popular as it was translated into several languages and served as the inspiration for movies and songs. The Disney version. Finally, in the most recent live-action film, director Bill Condon added another modification. In this version, Belle is an inventor who creates a washing machine to provide her with more time for reading. The nature of the invention has also been criticized as relying too heavily on gender roles. We can use this as a true testament of how far audiences have come. The Disney animated and live-action narrative suggests that Belle makes an independent decision to save her father and sacrifices her own freedom in exchange. The Beast, depicted as angry and violent, eventually succumbs to Belle's intelligence and kindness, and they find a love that transcends appearance. This is not the case in the original story. Instead, Belle is sent to live with the Beast, who is more attractive and offers her any luxury she desires. By the end of the story, she accepts her situation and falls in love with the creature she has been destined to marry. This would not have been too unlike young girls who were forced to marry older men. Another theory presented by Tater is that the Beast serves serves as a metaphor for fear itself. Following this logic, the beast is a representation of Belle's fears. Once she confronts these fears and feels at peace with them, she is able to see the beast for who he is, as her judgment is no longer clouded by her concerns. Essentially, through the scary image of the beast, the audience is supposed to learn that the worst part of being held captive against your will is your fear. Once you move past that, you will see that life isn't as bad as it seems. Disney found a way to flip this on its head, making sure that the beast's insecurities were the reason for his harsh attitude towards the rest of society that had exiled him. The takeaway. On one hand, Disney is advocating for a feminist rendition of Beauty and the Beast. On the other hand, we may continue to find fault in the problematic power dynamics that prevail in all retellings of the story. Nevertheless, the movie continues to bring up important questions about what it means to be in a healthy relationship. As long as it's properly contextualized for a young audience, presenting difficult and uncomfortable narratives from an outdated literary tradition might cause us to continue to question the gender roles we still take for granted. According to Disney, Belle's compassion and intelligence allows Beast to show himself for who he is. Instead of Belle having to accept her situation, she helps the Beast confront his own issues and become a better version of himself. Somehow, Disney has successfully turned a story about female oppression in arranged marriages into an inspiring lesson about seeing others for who they truly are. That's it for our video. Don't forget to subscribe to The Things and hit that like button for more videos like this one. See you next time.